Alright guys, welcome back, and we're continuing our look at trigonometric rules, and the rule that we're focusing on is the cosine rule in this session. So the formula for the cosine rule is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cos of big A. Now the formula begins with common A, it must end with big A. Now we really need one formula to work with whenever we're going to apply the cosine rule to answer any question. But just for further insight, because we're dealing with triangles and triangles have three sides and three angles, I could have said also that b squared would be equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times the cos of, we begin with little b, so we must end with big B. So remember, capital letters denote angles and common letters denote lengths of side. So also I could have written c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cos of big C. So all of these are lengths of sides, and the angle is denoted at the end right there. But as I said before, we only need one formula to tackle answering a particular question. So let's get into it and look at example 1. Now, here it is that we're given a triangle. It's obviously a non-right angle triangle. There is no proof that it is a right angle triangle, so we can't assume that it is, which means that trig ratios is out of the question. So it says here, calculate the length of side AB, but again, if we're using a trigonometric rule, and in this case the cosine rule, or once you know it's a non-right angle triangle and we have to use trig rules, what we need to do is put on common letters. So this triangle here already has its vertices labeled, so this triangle is called triangle ABC. And even if the triangle was not labeled ABC and there was nothing indicated here at vertices, you could have just put on some capital letters. It doesn't have to be ABC, it could have been P, Q, R, it could have been D, E, F, whatever. We just apply the same concept throughout. So we have to put on common letters as well. They have been good enough to give us the capital letters for the vertices, so let's just put on the common letters. So big A, the side opposite big A is little a. And big B, on the side opposite big B, is little b. Big C, the side opposite that is little c. So we have all the relevant letters now, capital and common, or big and small, on the triangle, and we're good to go to use a trig rule. Now, pointing out something extremely important. Now, if you look closer at that, this is a very good example of when the sine rule cannot be used, because remember what we said, in order for us to use the sine rule, we have to have a full pair. And if you look closer here, we have big C, but there's no little c. We have little a, but there's no big A. We have little b, but there's no big B. So this is a perfect example of when the sine rule cannot be applied, and therefore we have to depend and learn on this guy. All right? So we go ahead now and work. Now it says calculate the length of side AB, which is the length of this side, but AB is also known as little c. So I'm just going to point that out. AB is also known as little c. So essentially what we're finding is the length of C or the length of AB. So little c is what needs to be the highlight of the formula, which means at the beginning. So we're going to use this to answer the question, because they want us to find AB, and AB is little c. So if little c is what they need us to find, then that must be the formula that we're going to use. So let's get straight into working on this problem. So I'm going to slide this over here so we can look at it while we work, and then proceed. Now, again, what we're going to be using is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of big C. All right, so little c is what we need to find. So we're going to plug in the values for a, b, and continue. So little a is 6. So it's going to be 6 squared. We don't need to put the units in there. And b is 4. So that's 4 squared. Minus 2. Again, a is 6. And b is 4. And times the cos of c. And the angle at vertex c is 72 degrees. So we're going to continue working now. So c squared is equal to 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. And we're just going to multiply these two first. 6 times 4 is 24. And I'm just going to write this back for now. So this is c squared. 36 plus 16, that is 52. And minus 2 times 24 is minus 48. And I'm now going to go ahead and find the cosine of 72 degrees. Remember to make sure that your calculator is cleared. So the cosine of 72 degrees would be 0.3090. So it is going to be 0.3090. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put an asterisk at this step because I need to point out something extremely important. Now, many times students would make the mistake of going ahead and doing the subtraction here, and that would be very, very wrong, which is why I'm emphasizing this line. Now, there's a subtraction and a multiplication operation in this line, and when you see that, obviously multiplication must be done first. So these two are married together, so there's no way you can do the subtraction first. So we're going to go ahead. C squared equals 52, and we're gonna go ahead and multiply negative 48 by 0.3090. And what we're going to get here is minus 14.832. So I'm going to go ahead and do the subtraction there. So it's 52 minus 14.832, and that's going to be equal to 37.168. And of course, I have to square root now. So the square root of 37.168 is going to give us, and this will be the final step in terms of calculating the value of c. So that would be the square root of 37.168. I can write that answer to 2 decimal places unless otherwise stated. So it would be 6. On the calculator it says 6.09655. So if I round it off to 2 decimal places, the 9 has to change. So it end up with 6.10 meters. Now, remember, they didn't ask us anything about C. We're just using our knowledge of how to manipulate common and capital letters on a triangle to solve using trig rule, in this particular case, cosine rule. They had asked us for the length of side AB. So at the end, we need to state, therefore, seeing that we know that little c is the same as side AB, then therefore, the length of AB is 6.10 meters. And this is how we use the cosine rule to answer this particular question that is on a non-right angle triangle, and they're asking us to find the length of AB, which in this particular case is little c. And again, there is no way that the sine rule could have been used here, which is why you need to know both trig rules and not just one. All right, I hope you guys found this video insightful, and I'll see you guys on the next video.